Are you on
Can
the
you
line
guys
too?
hear us on the Zoom?
Yes.
Can you guys hear us?
Yep.
Oh, that's gonna be weird.
Okay.
That's on.
You can mute your Zoom.
I think you need to mute down there in the corner where the phone speaker is down here.
I didn't realize that they had that many cameras on it.
Right?
Yep. All right. All right. We made it. Thank God.
8:36, we'll call the meeting to order and start with the reading of the mission statement. Can you bring that down?
Yep.
The mission of the County of Lewis IDA is to stabilize, strengthen, and grow communities through strategic community partnerships, innovative incentive programs, responsible leverage of our financial resources, and thoughtful policy development to advance economic growth in a brighter and more inclusive. So start with introductions. Yes.
I'm Chris Doctor. I am the Director of Tourism at Naturally Lewis.
Megan Moroff, the Finance and Operations Manager at Naturally Lewis.
Robin Singh, board member, the idea.
Roxum.
Operation. Michael Connor, new board member. Creating the board member. Bill Arnott's board member.
Herb Frost, board member. And
Jessica Mosier, board member and county rep.
County Manager Tim Hunt and Naturally Lewis.
Keely Marriott, also Naturally Lewis.
Micah Rose, just started yesterday. Programs and Partnership Director. Thank you.
So the meeting minutes were sent out with the last week, I believe, and there was a link in the agenda. Does anyone have any questions or corrections for meeting minutes from last month? Do we have a motion to approve? Jerry, second. Item. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Financial reports.
Okay, statement of financial position. This is through the end of March. There wasn't a huge change here from the last board meeting. Not a lot of action on any of the accounts. Everybody at this point, just for second place, has caught up on their property payments. Equipment payments are to begin in June, so we're looking good. They're making some good progress. Everybody else is current on their loans through us. What's that? Yeah, sorry, leases.
Jerry, like a place yesterday, just
No, they've got some great events going on too. So they're finally, digging in and they're getting a good job. Here. Again, it was pretty quiet between last and now. So the final expense went out for the Harrisville Bank property for the real estate transaction for Campany and McCardle's office. So that one's wrapped up. And with that, I'll be sitting down with our accountant in another couple of weeks to begin the audit items. So we'll be going through and zeroing out some of the open balances for the property and things like that. These are the last of the pilot payments that were cashed this last month. And again, Campany, McCardle, Randall, that was a 2-year balance that was paid. That's the Harrisville Bank property. Then Lawrenceville is just quarterly increasing. Okay. Any questions for anybody?
There's no question. I have a motion to approve. Jerry, second, or all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, the next is a discussion with Community Bank.
Hi, Bob. So I invited Bob here. I know we had brought up at the last meeting, but he wasn't able to get in to actually join us, so it was on the agenda for the last month's meeting. He's here today. We had discussed the opportunity Community Bank moving some or all of the New York Class account to a money market account that would be held at Community Bank, and they can match rates updated weekly through Community Bank, all but percent. Bob, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. Can you hear me okay?
You're gonna have to mute him.
Yeah. So we would do a NICLAS match, whatever their rate is, minus 10 basis points. And we do that every Wednesday to ensure that you're at par with what they're at.
Sorry.
Is that better?
Okay,
No,
yeah,
no.
here's- sorry, we're gonna need you to repeat yourself because there was a lot of echo going on with technology.
No. No worries. I completely understand. Yeah, so we would do a NICLAS match minus 10 basis points. And with that, we check it every Wednesday, compare to NICLAS, and then make adjustments as necessary.
Limits to the amount of transfers between that new account into our checking accounts, money markets that we have existing.
Yeah, no limits at all. So you can move funds as often as needed, as many times as you can.
Okay. Does anybody have specific questions? Because I know we had some questions last time or wanted some more information about that, or if we want to allocate. Right now, there's it's like around 1.4 sitting in NICLAS. So I think it comes down to, do we want to allocate a certain percentage more locally here to Community Bank, or what route we want to take with that?
Yeah, is there a difference in accessibility from New York Class versus this money market?
It's easier accessibility for me through Community Bank.
Okay.
NICLAS, it's not overall difficult. There's just extra security steps needed through NICLAS that,
Okay.
as long as we're in office, it's not an issue. With the money market account at Community as well, it would be more of an instant transfer versus NICLAS is usually a 2 to 3 day business turnaround. Again, most of the year, besides the 3 months that pilots are coming in and out, it doesn't make a difference either way to me where the money sits. But during pilot time, when we're moving funds, it's more of a, I need to remember to do this. We can only hold it for 30 days ahead of schedule to make sure it hits the accounts for the checks to go out. So for the sake of pilots, that's when it would save a lot of extra time. And I guess just things to take care of to make sure I'm on schedule with not holding money longer than we should.
How easily can we transfer from New York Class to the money market?
Again, we process the request for the transfer. It does need approval by a second person on the NICLAS account, which we need to discuss adding somebody to that. And then, like I said, it's a 2 to 3 day hold before it actually hits the Community Bank account.
Are there any annual fees associated with NICLAS?
There's no annual fees that we have with NICLAS. Any annual fees with the Community Bank option?
No, not at all.
Okay, we're now.
This might be a stupid question.
Yeah.
You said that there's extra security steps in the New York Class.
There is.
Is there differences in how the money's insured and secured?
I'll let you handle that one, Bob.
Yeah. So no difference. You know, we collateralize everything and ensure everything just as you would need it to be 100%, either by M&T collateral third party, which your current accounts are under, or we have some other solutions, an additional third party solution, but everything is secured and guaranteed for you. It's just a nice way to keep funds local to your community, right? That's my goal. I'm a community guy. I'm a appointed official in my community. I live outside Syracuse area. Just a way to keep funds in town where we are paying taxes to your community and help invest right back into it.
And this may be a silly question as well, but I heard you say that on Wednesday you would adjust. Is that a retroactive adjustment, or is it for the next week, we're gonna catch up to whatever the change was at MI class?
Yeah, so it's as of that day, we would make the change, and then it would be going forward. Night class, and the reason why, good question, night class adjusts their rate every single day, right? And you can imagine on a portfolio of ours, would be just to do that every day is too much. I don't know how they're doing it every day, but and when they do move it, unless it's a period of time when rates are substantially changing, it's 0.01, 0.02% on a daily basis. Yesterday it was it was 0.1. Today I think it's stayed flat. I get it every day and look at it. Now the positive side, if let's say when Fed meets and it drops 0.25% on a Thursday, you get that extra 0.25% for 5 other days. Now that could flip the other way, if they drop it on a Tuesday, so, but yeah, we do it every Wednesday and it would take effect as the change.
So night class is based on the federal funds rate, right?
No, all of us kind of, I don't know what they base their rate on, but if the Fed does a drop, generally most rate structures drop somewhere within it. May not be the full drop or whatever they do. A lot of ours, we have our own rate structures, but if the Fed makes a drop, obviously we try to match or come somewhere within that realm.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions that anyone has?
No.
Okay. Do we want to designate an amount to move while also keeping some in the night class, or what is everybody going to be most comfortable with?
You said it was 1.4 million?
Yeah.
I'm okay with whatever amount, million, to make it easy, just the top.
I'd like to see a comparison. I am all for
Yeah.
going local,
Yeah.
but I'd also like to have that control.
Okay.
And I don't mean control as in control, I mean like in an experiment, a control,
Okay.
so that we could do that comparison of what does that 1 week, does it impact us?
Okay.
Depending on the balance, it could.
Right.
And maybe it's to our advantage, maybe it's to our disadvantage, but I think that by dividing it out and doing
Like a 50-50 split over, do you want to?
I'm for whatever
Okay.
the board as a whole is in favor of, but I would like to see us keep some in my class for the comparison.
Okay.
Well, so keep in mind, it's gonna be a disadvantage mathematically, right? It's 10 basis points, so $1,000 or $1 million. So it's gonna not show favorably mathematically, but then it comes down to, do you wanna have it
Right.
locally? So, food for thought.
Do we want to propose maybe a 50-50 split on the funds that are in New York class, and we can hold them for a period of 2 or 3 months and we can review?
We can always decide to move it all over
Right,
after
yeah.
that 3-month period.
Okay. Then I guess if you want to somebody wants to make a motion to do that, we'll go 50-50 for 3 months. Look at this again, August meeting.
Any advantages, Bob, on a balance? If
No,
it's higher-
we'll pay this. We pay the same rate no matter what your balance is. So we'll, based on your partnership with us, we're not going to. Yep.
And make that motion to do the split and to be able to compare.
A second.
Okay.
All right, I motion by her. Darlene, I guess was first on the second.
Sorry.
No, it's good. Everyone's excited. Any discussion? And so I guess just put in for discussion that we'll reevaluate in 3 months.
Yep.
And all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we talked about this earlier in the meeting, which moving forward, instead of sending the PDFs of agendas, because things can change between the dates that we get these out to you, Moving forward, having a live link for all board members to our Google Drive so you can stay up to date on any last minute changes that need to be added, because this is a change that I thought of this morning for the CDs that we have at Community Bank. They are set to renew on June 4th and June 5th. Obviously, we have some potential upcoming expenses that we would need to use those funds for. Moving forward with, if we wanted with McRes, for instance, that project, if that gets underway, that lease back on the equipment, the renovation project at the Naturally Lewis building. So I'd like to either have the option of getting it to like a shorter term on that CD, maybe a 3-month period, or pulling it, holding it in one of those money market or New York class to see what we might have of expenses coming up more in the short term so that they're more liquid to us and we're not having to pay a penalty if we have to close one of them out. The rates that we received for Community Bank on those when we renewed in December were pretty much identical to what the New York class rate was at that time. So there's not a huge advantage to having those locked in a CD for a fixed period versus just having the liquidity of being able to use the money if we need it. So whatever route the board would like to go to, either a shorter term on a CD or just having the liquidity of those funds, fine with. I just need to know before those renew so I can communicate that to Community Bank.
Would you be able to send us interest rates?
Yeah. I figured I would follow up. I don't know how much they can project out on a renewal at this point, for what they could lock us in at, but I can get you guys rates, email them, or like I said, have a discussion with the finance committee when I get all of that information. Maybe allow the finance committee to make that decision. That works. Okay.
Yeah, so can we, I think we made a motion today to renew these before the expiration date based on the recommendations of what Megan finds in finance.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Jerry.
Oh, sorry, everybody. I'm making notes in the wrong spot.
Can we do a motion before we have recommendation though?
I think we're empowering the staff to move the money at it right before our next.
Finance committee recommendation.
When the committee have to make the.
Well, I have to call a special. The next meeting will fall on a date after one of them renews. So
We could base it on the fact that if there's a difference of more than 1%, do the CD. Or if there's not, then put in your class for accessibility.
Right, like we can put the restrictions in this motion, but I don't think we can say based upon finance when they haven't met yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, we can say.
No, you're.
We don't have the information. So amend, Goggin, you want to amend the motion?
So the motion would be to, is that okay, a 1% difference?
Yeah.
For accessibility? So if there's more than a 1% difference, then we opt for the CDs.
okay.
If there isn't. And please, here's the other thing. You think we're gonna need some of that money, right?
Yeah, we might.
So we can't, then that won't apply.
I think the thing is, let me find out what a short-term rate would be on
Yeah.
a CD, like a 3-month CD, if that's an option for us. I'm not expecting anything to happen before a 3-month period, but a 6-month period is a potential that we're gonna need access to those.
So then I would compare it to the time frame that you think you'll need the money for.
Yeah.
In the basin.
And then do we have to specify whether it's gonna go to money market or MY class? Because that is part of that.
Right, because that's our trial period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'll
get it in the.
Maybe it's best with that, whatever decision we make with the CDs, just again, do a 50-50 split, just so we can keep it as a controlled here to see what happens.
So if you amend that, Goggin, that'd be that 1% for a 3 on a 3, define the period as being a 3-month CD. So we're,
Just so you know, I'm not updating up there.
No, I took it off.
Oh, okay.
I don't have to update the agenda, and I was updating the agenda instead of trying to take notes. Without Amy, it's my first meeting minutes. Yes, motion made to allocate the money to the more favorable option as a CD or transfer to New York class or money market based on 1% interest differential, 3-month renewal term on CD to be split 50-50 to New York class money market.
second right here. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right.
Okay. Executive Director's Report. Following up some new items from April that might not have been addressed at the last board meeting. The entrepreneurial meetups that are being funded by the Clarkson Shipley Center. We have worked those into our Coffee and Connections schedule through the end of the year. We had funding for six of them to be hosted. So we've been able to add, we're moving those now around a little bit from just Double Play Community Center to different locations in the community. And we'll have a schedule out on our website.
Our next one is June 12th.
Yes. So various speakers for those which have had pretty good feedback. Coffee and Connections usually has good feedback, but this is a little bit more of a deeper dive into individuals and their businesses. Roxanne,
Sorry.
that's okay.
That says May 8th,
So-
but it's not.
So there is one this Friday. A Coffee and Connections is our last one at Double Play this Friday. And then we're going to take a pause on the Coffee and Connections because we're going to do these entrepreneurial meetups, which will be every other month. And those will be at various locations as opposed to Coffee and Connections was always at Double Play.
Thank you.
Roxanne and Joanne did go to the Brownfield Development Summit. I know Tim was also in attendance to that. Good feedback from their experience there and connections that they made. We did feature the Lions Falls Mill site in an immersion room. I've not seen that yet. I starred in it. I don't really want to see it, but if you have a link, we'll share it with everybody. Then the Lewis County Historical Society did provide us with photos of the canals to show there and just kind of highlight our connection to the Mohawk Valley region. Leadership Academy last week was with Christy, and tomorrow is the Fort Drum Day for Leadership Academy. Next week is the Tourism Day, and graduation for Leadership Academy is scheduled for June 5th, if anybody wants to attend that. We're also opening up the next enrollment has been opened up for applications for the next year. Manufacturers Alliance. Rox, if you're on and would like to speak on this at all, let us know since you attended that. Roxanne's traveling, so she might not be able to.
Are we talking about the one that Keeley put on in Carthage?
Yes. If both of you would like to speak on that.
Keeley did a great job. I came from the manufacturing group, so it was nice to rub shoulders with some of my old constituents. A lot of great communication there. Keeley, if you want to kind of tell them how you came up with the panels and all of that and the questions, that's on you, but I gave it 5 gold stars.
Yeah, we had a panel discussion and then we did like roundtable discussions afterwards. We like broke it up into 3 segments. So it was like evaluating where they are now and then kind of looking ahead. And I think the conversations were really productive and good. There's good networking opportunities as well. So
how many did we have in attendance?
We had around 50.
And that was more than what you've ever had before.
Yes. Yeah, it was the biggest one.
Yep. Scroll down, go to the next piece here. So part of for the LCD grant and award program, the town of Diana had applied for our Community Connections Fund a few months ago. I believe it was the 4th quarter of 2025. So they did have a nice post up tagging Naturally Lewis for that fund. Big balloon arch for their 5K and mile markers, things like that, which is nice to see. Snow Ridge Ski Resort also closed out their vacant property fund for renovating a short-term rental space on their property. As far as organizational updates, we already did some introductions, but obviously we have a full board at this point with IDA, with Mark O'Connor joining. Thank you, Mark. Administrative specialist, Megan Rogers will be starting at the end of June, and Micah just began yesterday, so he's been in for a whirlwind. And then the Governance and Finance Committee, I know we had a discussion on Monday about updating the UTEP and things like that. I think moving forward, we'll have governance kind of handle the UTEP portion of that, and then the Finance Committee sitting down more to help me with any audit questions I might have, and obviously with the funds and transferring the CD. I think a lot of our UTEP updates are highly going to depend on the 575B law that might be passed for pilot programs. So I'll keep everybody updated on that and adjust some calendars if needed. To the top. Rox, this is also you if you're available. The Project and Site Development Committee, if you want to give a brief update.
Sorry, my phone's not wanting to unmute. Project and Site Committee, getting caught up on some of the projects. There's a couple loose ends that were floating around. I will be tying up a couple of those over the next couple days. But as it stands, so far it seems like everything that should be on track and is moving, so that's good. The DRI for our building, I talked to Mike Altieri. He's getting us lined up with Terry Evans with ESD, so I don't have any reason to be alarmed about that. Business park type of exploration is going on as it should. I had a great chat with Cass yesterday, so between myself, Megan, and Cass and our help with Bernier and Carr, I think we'll be okay. And everything seems to be going as it should. Did anybody have any questions specifically that I could answer?
Nope. Okay. Any questions at all on the executive board report for anybody? Yes.
There was a mention on there about ABO training. Does everyone have to do that every year? Because I thought it was in every other.
It's in every 3 years that I'm aware of. I believe Goggin had just finished his. I will go through our board member packet and just confirm where everybody's at and who might be up for renewal. Mark, you still need to take the ABO training, correct? Okay, we'll get all of that out to you. So I'll double check and let those know that are maybe expiring before the end of the year to take it. So you've got time to get it done.
And you'll include the like the link to
Yes.
the opportunity and times.
Yep. 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 Okay, let's move on. I know we already somewhat did introductions, but we want to spend just a touch more time on that. Mark was officially appointed at the last Board of Legislators meeting, I believe. I'm not positive on that date, April 8th. Mark, do you want to tell us anything about you and your past experience, work experience?
Yeah, I worked 31 years with New York State DOT in design and construction of roads and bridges. And I retired, I believe, 2 years ago. And now I work for a consulting engineering firm, Barton & Judas, which does a lot of work in the county here. And I will be on the Wood Battle Road project coming up in June. So my niche, I guess, is mainly road and bridges, design and construction of them. I went to Canton ATC back in the 90s for I have an associate's in civil engineering technology, and worked my way up through DOT and the civil service realm. Have my wife is a teacher. She retired from Carthage after 30 some years and went to Lowville, working with 8th graders now in English. I have 2 kids. One is a finance guy down in Connecticut, and my daughter lives in Watertown. And she has 3 grandchildren, 3 kids, but 3 grandchildren. And twins that are 6. The twins are 6 months. So that's my life in a nutshell.
My daughter probably has your wife as a teacher at Loudville right now, so
Oh,
I hope there's good things to report. About that.
I usually hear about the bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't know my name, then that's good. Micah, do you want to spend? So Micah was expected to start the middle of May with us. That timeline got moved up as he's buying a house and making the relocation a bit earlier than expected. So Micah is taking over for Jenna's role as the Programs and Partnerships Director. Yesterday was his first day, so it was a very busy day as we had a chamber board meeting and these meetings to kind of prepare for and also get some training in for him. So his brain was probably tired last night. It's going to be tired for the next few days, I'm sure. But Micah, if you want to just spend a couple minutes to go on talking about yourself and letting everybody know who you are.
Yeah, Micah Rose, graduated from Loudville, went to school at Binghamton University, got my MBA there. I was I graduated last May. For that year, I lived in Binghamton. I was an account manager for just a big chemical company, and I was the assistant coach for the Binghamton University wrestling team. My wife, she's currently still in school. She's gonna get her doctorate in occupational therapy. She actually hasn't moved back yet. She's coming back on Thursday, and yeah, hoping to close on a house end of May. So.
Yes, welcome. We're getting back up there, but all right, on the agenda, property and site development, I think we covered most everything we needed to in the board report. Keely's going to pull up the event sponsorship packet. So we have our upcoming conference, June 10th, our biggest event of the year that we coordinate and host. We would love it if any and all board members could attend. We have a pretty good itinerary for the day as far as the theme this year. We've got a great speaker. It is going to be, Kristen, I don't know if you want to speak on this, but a bit more tourism related and how tourism impacts resident satisfaction and what can be brought here by the tourism that we have. So if you want to just talk on that for a
Our
couple minutes.
keynote speaker is Josiah Brown. I know he spoke at a few. I think he spoke to him, right? Yeah. New York Sherpa. So his goal is to really bring pride in place, right? And how do you tie the residents' pride in place in with the tourism development pieces? So the quality of life is better. So he really pulls the two pieces together, which is what we've been talking about. How do we do that more functionally and get the community more involved with what we're trying to create? Because initially we were trying to create it for them to begin with. So it's going to be a great full day of panels and such. So would love everybody to be able to support.
Is that the center behind Boondocks?
It is.
and he is a great speaker.
Yeah,
He gets a very good presentation.
We have all the information about our panel topics for the day and timeline. So we have a lot going on with it and a lot of different panelist speakers and guests, things like that. So it should be a good day. Back to correspondence. There's none that I'm aware that needs to be brought up. I don't know if anybody on the board has anything. No. Items for discussion, like Roxanne said, the DRI for our building. We do have BCA coming to the office at the end of the month to walk through it again, take measurements, and start to make some headway on that project. So we're in good shape there. Also still working on the village DRI and the Lions Falls DRI. Those are LCDC programs though. Pilot NHCA, there's ongoing discussions on that and what that structure is going to look like. I think, like I said, a lot of this is going to hinge on that 575B with what we're going to be able to really put in place and enforce. Upcoming audit, that is scheduled to take place the June 15th, I believe is the date, the week of the June 15th. So I'll be working on getting everything uploaded to Bowers and Company ahead of schedule so they can review it. And obviously it ideally be done that week of June 15th and checked off. So I will be in touch with the finance committee around that time if there's anything we need to sit down and go over.
Are there limitations that are the things that need to be done by end of May, right?
Yes. So I can't I can upload items from earlier in the year, but our year end isn't until May 31st. So I'm kind of in a sticking point waiting for year ends to come out. But yeah, I'm not expecting there to be many issues. I made it through the LCDC one, survived. So
And we've had, Janelle Tooper is our
yeah,
contact again. And
yeah,
so she's familiar with the organization.
she is. Yeah, she's familiar with our
We've got
organization.
everything.
Yeah, the staff service agreements, all of that. So I'm not expecting any hiccups. But
And it is quite a bit less similar to the financial report, not having a lot of changes from last month since things shifted from IDA to Naturally Lewis. We have a lot less activity in our audit. So
yeah, should go smooth.
And just a reminder on our building with the DRI project. So we are, we're also working through the purchase of that building from our landlord.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Jess, I sent you a copy of that contract just to review that our new attorney had drafted. Did you get that or not? No, it was a couple weeks ago. I figured you were busy and I know I was, so I forgot to follow up. But it's a very basic real estate purchase contract. And I know we had discussed before that the board had already approved moving forward with that purchase. I just wanted Jess's second eyes on it so she could make sure everything looked good. The purchase price that we're offering is based on the lease agreement that we had with the $89,000. It did appraise for 94, I believe, when they did the appraisal in 2023. So we have a lesser amount to offer there to purchase it. So Joe will move ahead signing that offer so we can get that to the buyers and get that under contract and underway, because the DRI does hinge on the IDA owning the building.
Do the lease payments retroactively go towards the balance? Like a rent to buy sort of thing? No.
We had the option to buy it.
I remember.
Yeah.
And we had to, as a board, we had to approve all of this is part of the DRI. So the state, when the DRI application went through, the state knew our intentions and our commitment to the project if it was funded. So so if there's anything else that comes up for the board, we'll let you know. But we're moving forward with the attorneys on.
And then once that is in place, then I think we'll probably have to have another discussion, and maybe that's also a finance committee discussion to begin with. Naturally Lewis then leasing the building from IDA and what that structure and lease is going to look like moving forward. And so, okay. With the Trinity Ave lot and AMF building development, this is more of just a heads up of what's going on in the village of Lowville, or potentially in the village of Lowville. A developer that we've worked with more through LCDC with one of our VPR grants, but the county's been working with him. Tim Flanders of Top View Apartments, he had purchased the Lions Falls building, is in the process of trying to purchase the West Leiden School building pending some inspections. He has expressed an interest in what was called the old AMF building, which is by the train tracks across from Second Place Brewing Company. Looks like an old warehouse there. And renovating that to turn it into market rate apartments. I think the 20 to 24 units is the total there range. Further discussions with the food pantry, who is behind that building, on possibly relocating them elsewhere. Why I'm bringing it up to the IDA is the lot that we had discussed, the county discussed with him for parking, because parking might be an issue at that AMF building. For egress and ingress, there is a vacant lot that the county owns. So if you're looking at Second Place, there is a corner lot that is behind it on the right-hand side that the county owns. The county had said to Tim, maybe you can buy this and turn it into extra parking if you need to, etc. But then we were also approached as to say, would the IDA potentially be interested in this lot, and you could merge it with Second Place. So it could be then a commercial lot that's there, not really for development, parking situation. At this point, there's still an existing lien on that property by the DEC for environmental cleanup that happened of about $24,000. So nothing we're moving forward here at this point unless we can get that waived somehow, which Cassie was going to be talking somewhat with DEC to see what the options were for that. For us, the benefit would be that it would expand the lot that is there with Second Place to join those lots, have a larger commercial space in the village. But again, just more of a conversation to keep you in the loop on what that is. Yeah, Jerry.
Is there an issue with the rail easement there?
That is a portion of the rail that we bought. So, and it's just a fragmented spur, so it doesn't connect to anything, but it ended up in the county's property, when we purchased the railroad. So we have the railroad property, and then there was a house there that was demolished, and we took that for back taxes. So that whole corner section is part of what we're talking about.
I see it in the county one, but they've got me blocked.
Oh. Okay.
So
You're blocked.
Apparently.
Yeah, so it would. Or currently have a lease to own essentially agreement with Second Place for their property. So technically, right now, we own that property still.
Right.
But we're in this agreement, so if we were to consider picking up this adjacent property, yes, right now it'd be two IDA properties that would join each other and maybe could be merged together, but we'd also have to factor in that we're already under a lease to own with the Second Place property. So unless they were interested in that too, which would be probably be a ways out if they ever were, it would still end up like it'd still end up being a split parcel. Just throwing that out there as like as we consider option.
Yeah.
You may have stated this and I missed it, but who currently owns the AMF building? The building.
The food pantry currently owns that.
But they're only occupying a portion of it.
So
they're not
they're,
even this particular building.
No, they're in the back.
But they own.
But they own.
So there's in that discussion for the food pantry to relocate, there's another old neglected building owned by the Nortz cousins. That is the old casketry. So this was a whole conversation of could the food pantry utilize that building for their storage? And then abandon what they're using for storage where they're at. They could still have their food pantry at one of those back locations, but that would allow the contractor developer to have that building on his site for storage. And also, again, with parking being the issue, if those two parcels were maybe owned by one person, if that was the developer, he could have access for parking to expand his parking across that portion of the rail.
Why would the food pantry want to do that?
Well, I think the food pantry is looking to sell the space.
Get, like, is it beneficial for them to be able to?
It is beneficial
Okay,
for them.
that's what I.
Yeah.
Let me kind of a little more
Yeah.
background. So that building that we're talking about has environmental issues. So when AMF was there, they had underground storage tanks that had varnish in them for varnishing the bowling pins.
Yeah.
They leaked. There was a huge environmental cleanup that was completed in 2002. The site is mostly cleaned up. There's a few spots that are not. It is got an easement on it by New York State that it can only be used for commercial or industrial use right now. We're talking to the DC. There was a meeting yesterday and it was very positive that we possibly could change that easement to allow this use. The reason it's sat vacant all these years is for that reason. It's because of the environmental concerns. We think we can get through them, and it also qualifies for brownfield tax credits because of it. So we're trying to package this thing and reuse it. But
And the food pantry received that property for little very low.
Oh, so it could be worth a
So,
while to sell it.
right, yeah,
Okay,
so-
yeah. You just go in there and come out a little shiny.
Scroll down. I don't believe there is anything else except. Yep.
I'd like to make a motion for going to executive session.
Second.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Looks very cool.
Uh,
Pause the stream.
We need to,
Turn off video and mute.
video and mute that.